Welcome back to The Buzz with Bernadette. Today, of course, we are filming at the incredible Active Wellness Spa here in Victoria Park. It's so beautiful here, so really aesthetic, it's gorgeous. A huge thank you to our venue sponsors for hosting us. And today I am joined by a staple of the Perth media scene, Demelza Leonard. Many of you know her roots as Tha Diva on Groove 101.7 FM and her years with Xpress Magazine, but she's someone who has constantly evolved. So from documenting the 90s music scene to her current work as a pop culture marketer and the face of WA Sporting Car Club Championship, she's navigated the highs and lows of her creative grind for over 20 years. Demelza, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Was that a big intro?
That was a huge intro. I was like, geez, I've done a lot.
I know. You have done a lot. I was reading it going, wow, okay, that's so great. You spent years in the 90s and 2000s sitting down with massive urban and hip-hop icons. Who was the very first person that made you realise, okay, I'm really doing this?
I think my very first, and he wasn't big, it was an up-and-coming artist, but then he became big, and that was Scribe. So not many, if any. That was my very first interview that I did for Xpress Magazine. So I had just been appointed the club music editor. I had done some grassroots-based interviews beforehand for the magazine, and within 3 weeks of becoming an editor, a journalist for them, I got a call saying, hey, you've been on Groove 101.7, we want you to now do this, and we want you to be the editor. And so Scribe was probably the big one. When I was at Groove, there were artists that we could interview, but they were Aussie artists and local artists. It wasn't until I got to Xpress that I got to do the international. So Scribe kind of kicked it off. But I've been able to interview LL Cool J, Pitbull, T-Pain, Eve. I'm trying to think who else. John Cena, the wrestler. I've interviewed him. I interviewed Hamish and Andy when they were like massive on the radio. So I've actually been very, very fortunate. Ice Cube is another one. So I've been very, very fortunate to chat to people, and then on the other side of the phone is some massive
That's
name.
Crazy. And in the day and age that we were living in back then, it was film cameras. So did you actually get physical photos? Did you have a photographer come out with you?
I do have, I didn't have a photographer. Like, it was literally our digital cameras that we used to take out and then take the photos. But because of what I was doing on Groove, I was the breakfast co-host on Wake Up WA, which was on Channel 31. So I was there for a year as well. And we were given the opportunity. My show had been nominated for an Urban Music Award, which was, I think, the second year that it was on. So we went over and we were on the red carpet, and we got to hang out and chill. And the beauty of it is we were friends with a lot of the music industry, the Aussie urban music industry. So we knew all the reps, we knew the artists, and to be able to hang out with them and just actually be like, hold on.
Yeah,
we're here with these guys. So I've got photos of all of that, and then you get meet and greets, or you know people. And I ended up, I've met Christina Aguilera, I've met Backstreet Boys, Blackstreet, so No Diggity, No Doubt, Blackstreet, All for One, I swear. Chili from TLC. So it also helps that, I'm married to a DJ, and so there'd be sometimes him having those supports. I'll be able to kind of get backstage and things like that. But I'm very, very fortunate, because I've also worked behind the scenes on some of the Superfest, Winter Beats, and I used to actually run the meet and greet. So I've worked with Nelly on his meet and greet. I worked with Neo on his meet and greet. So Travie McCoy. So through different things I've done, I've been able to actually meet some incredible artists.
Who was the one, like, who was there one that had you a bit starstruck more than the others?
I think there was always a time where halfway through an interview, it would click in my head and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm interviewing this person. And I would always listen back when I was transcribing my interviews. The moment I could hear myself, the brain had clocked who I was actually talking to. I think for me, Ice Cube was probably the big one for me, but there was 2 reasons with Ice Cube, because originally I was lined up to interview him for his album, and he was on tour in Australia at the time. And I was 3rd or 4th on the interview list, and the girls, the PR girl came up and she called me and she's like, look, he's cancelled the interviews. And then I went to the concert that night, and at the concert he's like, I'm sick of like talking to these journalists here because they don't know, they're asking me when I'm going to retire now that I'm doing Disney movies, and he was really worked up about it.
Yeah.
So I went back after that concert and I said, look, this is what he said at the concert that, you know, the Aussie media just doesn't understand. What if I sent through my questions and you would see, because my questions asked him about the politics that were happening at the time.
Yeah.
Did he think that history was repeating itself, because it was very reminiscent of the LA riots that happened in 1992? All this stuff that when he was with NWA, it all came out. And it was those types of questions, and then actually asking about the music side and the rap side and the storytelling that he had. And so I said to them, I said, look, I feel like my questions are different. Can I send them through? Just see if they might be able to get vetted. And I got a call. He will give you 20 minutes.
Ooh.
He went back to LA after the tour and he took the call. And so for me, not only had I interviewed Ice Cube and gotten what I wanted out of that interview, but I also had been able to show my talents and my skills as an interviewer and a journalist to get the interview at the same time.
Yeah, so you went a bit deeper and a bit more authentic.
And the thing was, is the interview that I had with him, those quotes ended up getting pulled out used in like what was allhiphop.com, which was kind of like a Bible for hip hop readers. And it was like Ice Cube spoke to this Australian journalist and said this. And I was like, I'm that Australian journalist.
Do you know what? If only we had social media back then to highlight those moments and grab them.
We had MySpace, but you couldn't do what you could with MySpace.
No, it was
back
completely
then.
different, wasn't
it?
And then who was probably the friendliest? Or more down to earth?
Do you know what? I think a lot of them were always really lovely and really down to earth. Neo was lovely.
Oh, I knew he would
Nelly
be.
was actually very lovely as well. I'm trying to think who else was there that I was just like, I think even the girls, like Eve was really sweet. She was really sweet to talk to as well. There's Ja Rule and Flow Rider. I was working at Winter Beats and there was this moment where the PR girl who I was working with and helping her out, she's turned to me and gone, can we just take a minute to see who's surrounding us? And literally you had it was Akon on the stage, and you had Ja Rule here, Flow Rider behind me, Jay Sean in the corner, Sierra over here, and they were all in their respective little groups watching the headliner for this show. And then I get this tap on the back and I was like, turned around and he's like, hi, I'm Flo. How are you? And I was like, I'm Demelza. Nice to meet you. And he goes, I just wanted to say thanks for helping us out today. And that's one thing that I loved about working backstage is so many artists would actually take the time, if they knew you were working on the show, thank you so much. Like, really appreciate you helping us out today. Even though they've got no idea what your role was, but they knew if you were backstage and you had that pass, that you were actually helping them in some
Do you think artists today would still be like that?
I think to some extent. But I think they're also very sheltered today and very protected today because of, back then you didn't have the real-time filming. You didn't
Yeah,
have
that's
people
right.
purposely baiting them.
Yeah.
So, you know,
bullying
like I do.
online.
Yeah, and that's it. And everyone wanting to be like, oh, look, like here's my
That's
story that I'm putting up. Like they're right here. You still had this element of protection.
Yeah, they're kind of now getting more exposed because of social media and
absolutely.
losing their privacy a lot more because of social media.
Well, even this morning, the news has broken that Britney has gone into rehab for drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, there's no privacy there for her actually entering the rehab, you know?
Right.
So
that's right. It's crazy. Have you kept any of your like old backstage passes, nightclub memberships? Remember we used to get the key rings. I don't even know if they do that.
The key rings were a little bit ahead of my time, but I do have the VIP passes.
Yeah.
Especially because for me, I was a door girl. I used to run club nights myself at Crown and Mink. So I've actually got that background. So I've got all the artwork and I've got all the little cards and things like that. And when I used to be a promo girl and I'd walk around Northbridge being like, here, take this VIP. Like I feel like apart from
done the promo bit.
The bar, I've done almost everything. Other role in a nightclub.
Because that shapes you, don't you think? Like it gives you a bigger understanding.
I think it wasn't just a bigger understanding, but I think it gave me, for more of a better word, I grew some balls. Like I was such a shy person, like surprisingly, like very introverted. And when you're a door girl, you have to kind of hold your own.
Yeah, you got to learn how to take it.
And that's it. And you had people trying to be like, I've got my 10 friends and I want to come in with my 10 friends and for free. And I'm like, no, because that's $300 that my boss is losing on the till. Like I have to do the right thing here. No, the best I can do is $5 because there's so many of you, but no, sorry, it's not going to happen. And you'd get met with stuff like that. But I think actually for me, the turning point of being this nice customer service girl, which was an original job when I was at uni, it was actually being that door girl and working my way and working in the nightclub scene.
So what clubs sort of did you work at back in the day?
A lot of the R&B hip hop ones, because that was the organisation. Like that was the I guess the industry I was associated with the most. So I've been a door girl at Metro City. I was there for a while. I've helped them out with admin assistant work. You know, as a uni student, you're trying to like find any way of getting cash. I've run club nights that was at some clubs. I think it was Bar 123. I think it was on William Street.
Oh, okay.
So there was one there. I've worked at, where else have I worked? Gosh, Crown. Crown's probably the one that I remember the most, is because we ran those nights for 3-4 years.
Wow.
At Ruby Room / Eve.
Yes.
And then Mink Bar. We used to run some nights at Amber when that was around as well. So, and that was the Wednesday night R&B, and then that moved to Crowns.
You're bringing back all the memories. All the memories,
so
the nostalgia.
So if you were clubbing in the late 2000s and you went to Ruby Room and Eve, you probably were at one of the nights that I was
clubbing away too long past my due date. Now, this might seem obvious to some, but what is your favourite genre of music?
Actually, it's a mix. It depends on how I'm feeling. Because I'm a music journalist, I have a very, I'm polyamorous, as they like to call it.
New word here today.
So I like my mix of genres. So, I mean, I'm a massive Blink-182 and Offspring fan.
Wow.
I love their music.
Yeah.
And you know, to be able to have seen Blink when they came a couple of years ago was like a dream come true. I love my R&B and hip hop, because for me, R&B and hip hop was what my friends at school were listening to. But I always was kind of the teeny bopper. I was the one that was listening to the top 30. I was the one writing the ARIA charts down when I was listening, or the top 30 and the Rick D's weekly top 40, and listening to what was happening and going on in America. And then I would have and then when I got into uni, I was a dance bunny. I was listening to all the Wild FM albums and the Ministry of Sounds. And whilst I couldn't afford to go to those raves, I was well and truly hanging out at the church nightclub on a Saturday before it went a little bit too wild. But, you know, I was at Leedy on a Wednesday night, you know.
So was iconic. I can't believe we bumped
I feel like we have cross paths unknowingly.
Were you dancing on top of the speakers or down on the dance
cage? If I could sneak into the cage, I would sneak into
I
the
didn't
cage
do
with my
that,
friends.
but I wasn't dancing on the top.
And then you'd go to hippie club afterwards, because that was
it was the progression. Yeah, I think we went out those days, and we went out during the day, and we just continued on.
Yeah. And then you'd have the Sunday sesh at the college.
That's right.
Yeah. And so that was, with me, it's all that type of music.
Yeah.
So, you know, at the moment, I'm kind of more into my pop music right now. So, like, I've been thrashing Justin Bieber the last 24 hours. But I love Robin. I love as I said, the dance music. I love the R&B and the hip hop music, because I think for me, there's different parts and there's different feelings and there's different styles that will relate or tap into a mood that I'm feeling. And I'm very much based upon listening to something based upon a mood.
Yes, exactly. Do you feel like the music was happier back then, and, you know, and where is it sitting now? Because I feel like it went through a bit of a dark dive.
I think it's a reflection of the time, for, you know, the time that we're living in. I mean, how heavy is the world right now? But I also feel like, and I have had this conversation with some Gen Zs recently, is the music back then is so different, and it's almost timeless compared to the music now. And I think one of those reasons is the music now is being almost forced to happen and be pushed out so that you can make money.
Mechanical.
Whereas back then, a Mariah Carey album would be on the charts for 144 weeks, and it would be 2-3 years before you saw another album.
Yeah, or her. The Bodyguard or something like that, the soundtrack.
But it was about the quality, you know. And I mean, we're going to see it in the upcoming Michael biopic. Is there was hundreds of songs for that Thriller album, that first Thriller album with Quincy Jones. And so many of those songs got shelved to make the final, I think it was 8 on that album. Don't quote me. But that is what it was back then. It was about the quality as opposed to the quantity. And now we've got streaming, and now we've got just, it's so much more easily accessible.
Yeah, and everybody wants it out fast. What's new?
But we've also lost the shared experience that comes with that. We've lost the conversations that come with an album. It's all online. So that tangibility of actually having something that you can experience, share, actually feel.
Go and purchase, hold.
I think we've lost a lot of that, because that's just the time that we're in now. Yeah,
I agree. So I guess with the digital world though, I mean, we do get that ease of, you know, downloading something when we want it, etc. Do you feel like even it's not really ours to keep because there is no physicality? Like, it's like we had a library and we could, like, come over, listen to music. Like, I'll pull out my 12-inch special that nobody else has got, my extended remix that nobody else has got. And it was kind of like a little bit, you could sort of tailor make it to your own, because, I've got this mix, you've got that mix.
And you used to make mixes for each other and things like that. And I think that's what something like a Spotify and Apple Music, it's now you choose the song and you listen to it on your own. Yeah, that's right. You don't actually choose the song and have your friends around. Like, I mean, you've got it as background music now more than an actual invitation to come and be a part of that.
And even Spotify will then take that song and curate you a playlist. Whereas most of the time I'm going, where did this song come from? Like, I don't really like this song.
And I think that is why we've the quality and the quantity element has changed. Is now we're being fed hundreds and hundreds of songs because they're there, they're accessible. Whereas before we were being told by radio, we were being told by DJs, we were being told by the record labels themselves, this is what you should be listening to. So it's almost like there was a vetting before. And now we've got so many artists who are independent artists. And that's brilliant. Like make your money. I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is an element there that we've lost maybe some of the protocols that were like, this is going to be a hit, we're going to put it up.
Yeah.
Now it's up to us and TikTok.
Yeah.
To make a decision on whether a song is hot rather
the virality
than the labels.
of it, possibly.
And let's face it, like labels have their own negative elements about doing all of that.
Yeah.
But I think from a music listening side of things, it's something that we should be considering.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's do a little quick pivot to the name, the Diva Demelza.
Yes.
So how did we come up with the Diva?
So the Diva actually came about when I was studying broadcasting at WAPA, and we had our academy radio, and I was looking for an alliteration.
Yes.
I wanted something
I love
fun.
an alliteration.
We love an alliteration, right? I wanted something fun. I wanted something that kind of encompassed my personality. I knew I was like slightly funky. I wanted to stand out. I wanted something fun and just diva kind of. It had a good ring to it, and it was actually one of my very awesome classmates, Simon, who actually has Host with the Most on SBS. Like, go and check it out. Amazing show.
Very good.
He was the one that was just like, you need to be the diva. Diva Demelza.
Yeah. Yep.
Look, at the end of the day, the Diva only lasted a term and a semester because my lecturers didn't want me to have a character. So I think
they knew nothing of marketing.
I think at the time she got killed off, or she went in hiatus because Jack Sparrow she'd gone on a boat with Jack Sparrow, and that was the end of like Pirates of the Caribbean had just come out. So I made this like huge story. And then at Groove, I was Demelza on the Sunday afternoon show, the Sunday School that myself and DJ Danny Boy used to do. And then went and did Nesian Vibes with Scooby, and that's where the Diva came. Wow. And then I started writing for hip-hop magazines under the Diva pseudonym. And then she kind of went on a break when I was marketing again, and then built up my marketing career. And then when I came back into media, I was still Demelza.
Yeah.
I was still Demelza. The couch that I do,
yeah.
I was on Heritage FM, and it was Demelza, it wasn't the Diva. And then probably the last 2 years, I was like, you know what? I think it's time we brought the Diva
Bringing her back.
And so, voila!
Here she is.
She's here.
And did you ever picture Diva, the Demelza, the Diva, doing or going into the motorsport world, which is what you're doing sort of part-time now?
So I mean, like, I've always loved presenting. I've always loved sports. I watch a range of sports, basketball, NFL, soccer.
Sporty,
like, I really do enjoy. And even the sports that I don't watch, I get fed the algorithm. Like, I watch that type of stuff. I have conversations with people, WWE, wrestling, all this.
I love it. You're across it.
I'm across everything. And one of the sports that I watched religiously was the F1.
Wow.
And I used to actually share, what I was watching or something that was happening on my socials. And it just so happened that somebody who was following me and that I had worked with in a previous life is now running his own production company and had ties with the WA Sporting Car Club, and messaged me, and he was like, hey, got a pitch for you. Not sure if you'd be interested. And basically sold me and said, look, what they do on the F1 broadcast, we want to do a community version, a grassroots version to showcase the WA Sporting Car Club Championships out at Motor Mall Raceway.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? count me in. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this. And because for me, it was giving me more experience within that presenting role. And that for me has always been my love. It's why I went and did media studies at uni. It's why I then went and studied broadcasting at WAPA. It was because give the girl the mic and she loves to talk.
She loves to talk. She loves to sing. She loves some karaoke as well,
I do.
which is perfect.
It's like, look, Fame was probably the first movie I ever watched as a kid that like really resonated with me. And so I think I would have loved to have gone to Juilliard and the school that they had in that. So so it's all. I feel like it's all coming full circle. And I just love doing it. I love the stories I get to tell every week with the drivers and the who's winning, and it's actually very exciting to watch when you get to understand who's behind it. It's not unlike what you see on the F1 broadcast. And I love that, and I love the fact that we have it here in our own backyard.
That's right. And also once you become a part of that community and knowing everyone's stories and
they're beautiful.
How they're progressing. And
they are. Everyone is so lovely. They're so helpful. The amount of drivers that sent me a Merry Christmas message was just beautiful. And the fact that they embraced me knowing full well that they were probably like, who's this chick? She's a music presenter. Like, why is she doing cards? And then... No,
they've leaned in, which is really nice. I don't know any other female, definitely including myself, who could be doing that because I know nothing about sport, but you can teach me. And it's good because when a girl posts about sport on her stories, etc., it's in a different way than a guy would. So it's like, I get it. I can understand. Yeah, that's right. I think it's good. So in an industry that obsesses over the next young thing, how do you lean into your 20 plus years of experience, like as an asset?
It's me. You get my personality, you get my experience, you get the fact that I am knowledgeable, I am professional, I will show up the way that you need me to show up. If it means I have to do 2 hours of makeup and hair at 5 a.m. in the morning because I have a 7 a.m. to call time, I'm doing that. It means I am rehearsing, I am going through scripts, I am learning, I'm trying to continually make myself better. And I know I'm not perfect, and I know there's things that I'll listen back and I'll be like, why did you say that? Or my motor mouth will kick in and I'll say something and then back I'm like, why did I say that? And I think for me, we're also in a time where people don't mind how old you are, as long as you present well. And I think that's the beauty of it as well, is I'm showing up with experience. I'm showing up with a can-do attitude. I'm showing up with, I guess, this maybe, and you've said it a couple of times, this spark that does differentiate me from another presenter, and that presenter is going to have their own spark. But I think it fits within whatever I've been hired to do, right?
And look at you today. You've come straight from a photo shoot.
I have.
Earlier this week.
AKA Artwear with Kay.
Yes. I mean, we don't just book one thing a day, it's like very versatile. And I feel like as you get older, you can be more versatile. And I think appreciate doing more things.
That's what I'm loving is now I'm not doing the 9 to 5. I've gone back into freelancing. I'm not just pigeonholing myself into one thing. Like, I am somebody who has always worn so many different hats. And I think for me, I'm actually tapping into that again, but I'm also learning how to make sure I'm not running myself thin at the same time. And I honestly feel like right now is the person who, when I was younger, I always wanted to be. And I think for me, that's really special that, yes, it might be a couple of decades down the line, but the Demelza back in her early 20s, which was like, I want to do this, and then became this massive self-saboteur and basically would self-sabotage any opportunity that she would get so close to actually having success. I think now that I'm aware and I've done the healing and I'm doing the work, I think now I'm actually realizing
Yeah.
like this is where I'm meant to be. This is what I love doing. And it's
Giving yourself that permission.
yeah, and I think I'm very, very fortunate that people actually trust in my abilities
that's right.
and give me those opportunities.
So you would self-sabotage in the past?
All the time.
Like, how would you?
All the time. It would be, I would have an opportunity and I would just freak out to the point that I'd be like, oh, I'm sick, I can't make it in.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Or I just wouldn't show up the way that I should show up, or I'd do something that unknowingly, subconsciously could potentially damage my chances. And then I get overthinking because I was like, oh my God, I said this, it's too much. And and I used to do that.
So how do you work on that? How do you?
I think I discovered it when I was running my own social media agency, and it was through kinesiology that I actually discovered that I had this layer of self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
And I actually told my assistant, my VA at the time, I was like, look, I have a tendency to self-sabotage. So if you think that I'm not getting something to you, I'm not doing something I should be doing, I was like, just give me a kick. Like, just give me and be like, Dee, are you self-sabotaging? And she did, which was amazing. But it also allowed me to identify like how and what. And kind of now I'll see an opportunity. Like that WA Sporting Car Club Championships, I was terrified.
Yeah,
you could
absolutely, because it's live, isn't it?
It's live, and literally we have like
stress.
5 minutes before. We have no idea who we're interviewing. We don't have a script. We literally have a conversation 5 minutes before we go to air, and we go to air.
That's it.
And that is it. And in most cases, we're not even able to watch the races because we're in pit lane and we're walking
so you've got to talk about something that
we're
you
basically asking them based upon what we're seeing coming through the stats. And then if we get a chance to like poke our head over a fence because there's a garage that's nearby, then we can do that.
Yeah.
So I think with that, that would have been easy for me to be like, I can't do this. I'm too scared. I'm too terrified, and find a way to get myself out of it. And now I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
Just go and do it. If you suck at it, at least you can say you tried. Because I think also along that time, I saw this interview with Rihanna, and she's got this tattoo on her shoulder, and it says, never a failure, always a lesson.
Love it.
And I have always, from the minute I heard that, I have used that as one of my like mantras is it's never a failure. I could be
so
horrible,
true.
But at least I've tried
you learnt, and we move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, looks like we're going to go and get matching tattoos then.
Yeah.
Do you have any tattoos?
No, but I'm hoping I will have one very soon. The rose from Beauty and the Beast, because I am Belle.
You are Belle the Diva.
Belle the Diva. I even talk to my cutlery when I'm putting it away. I am Belle. So I want to get on my wrist the rose in the case.
Oh, in the cloche.
And yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And so and just as a reminder that I am a Disney princess.
I love knowing that. But talking about the stressful situations, like before the camera goes on, before because I still get nervous. And do you still get nervous?
Absolutely.
And what do you
tell
yourself?
Every couch.
Yeah.
I am like, as soon as it's there, I'm like, what am I talking about? Like my mind will go blank, and I'll be like, "What am I talking about today?" Or can I remember this? Or can I remember that?
You don't look like it.
It's like, and then as soon as it's on, it's like the back of my head. I'm like, well, it's on now. There's no turning back. You know, like I can't.
Yeah.
Change.
So then, how do you prepare? Do you like read over your script multiple times?
Yeah.
Because then you find like it is in there somewhere once you start talking.
I actually find I've got what is termed hyperthymesia. So basically it's like a photographic memory, but it's a video memory. So if you have experienced something, it's like embedded in your brain. And for me, if I write something out or I type something out, I'm more inclined to remember verbatim what I have written just once as opposed to someone giving me a script and me trying to remember that. That I will do 20 times over to the point that they're probably being like, we've hired the wrong girl. But if I've written it, and that I think is the beauty of the couch is we write our own scripts.
Yes, that's
so
right.
I can put all of that together and I can be like, okay, well, these are my dot points. This is what I need to know. And I remember that. But there are times where I go blank, and there are times where I'm like getting like, the brain is ticking faster than the mouth. And
like, do you forget names?
All
places?
The time. And there's been a couple of times where, again, I've been muddled whilst I'm talking, and I know the right thing, or I'll get thrown a curly question and I'll say something, and then in hindsight I'm like, no, that's not what that was. This is what it actually was when this happened and this happened. And for me, this is all parts of. It's one of the reasons why I have a bit of a talent of being able to tell you what year a song came out if it came out in the 90s.
You do.
Because I was writing the charts, and I have arguments all the time with people where I'm like, no, this song actually came out in this because it was the top 5 with this, and this. If you don't believe me, here's all the places that you can go and find it. So I do love a good debate.
Yes. Especially when you know you're right.
Exactly.
So then what you're saying is no matter how many times you've been on TV or interviews or whatever, you still get a bit nervous.
Absolutely. All
the time.
Is
there any techniques, breathing, or you just go, no, you just tell yourself?
I think it was actually something, I auditioned for Pop Stars, and it was something that they said on that, where it was, you take your nerves and channel it into energy.
Yes.
And so I always try to take a moment, if I get the opportunity to, where I just kind of take a deep breath and then channel it into energy. Other times I will actually message friends who I know would know I'm having like an anxiety attack over it all, and be like, talk me off the ledge. Yeah. Talk me off the ledge. I know
Tell me how good I am.
But tell me talk me off the ledge.
You know what we should do? Actually, we should get all our friends to just record the best thing about us, put it in a compilation, and play it back before we get on. I am good.
Our friends say about us. This is what they think. Yeah,
that's right. So you're a mother, and you're in the thick of doing so many different projects. How do you actually manage the mental load of it all? You're doing school pickouts, you're doing UGC maybe work, content. How do you manage it all?
Time blocking. I found time blocking has always been a strength of mine, is going, no, this is when I'm going to do this. So I actually allocate certain days of the week, where on a Tuesday, that's my day for prepping for my podcast recording on a Thursday. On a Wednesday, it's purely client-based. On a Monday, it's things like this, Rave and Brunch, things that are, and for me as well, it's also things that make me money. So what can I do that's going to put me into the next step of actually earning more money? And so that's the type. So it might not actually earn me money on that day, but it might be I've done a promo video, or I've put something up, or shared a link that then in a week's time someone goes, oh, I remember seeing that D. Can you do this? But then also I know that on most days at 2:00, I need to be in the school car park. That's right. And I need to
and you got to be there early.
For the car park to
get your spot.
That's an hour of my day that I don't really want to be sitting in a car. So then that's when I do my comments, or I do the engagement side of social media. So I'm trying to utilize that time, but I do get to a stage where it's burnout, and it's very unlikely for me to be working after 8:00 at night, because I just feel like my brain does switch off. And I really do struggle. And then that's when the doom scrolling, that's when the overthinking, that's when the Real Housewives, that's when, I just sit and I binge
reality
watch
TV, Summer House maybe.
So these are all the things that I look at and go, okay, well, how can I kind of streamline this? And whilst I'm working from home and I am typing a script up, or I am putting social media for a client together, or I am editing up a video for user-generated content. I'm also running the laundry. I've put the dishes in the dishwasher.
That's what people forget.
I'm very much
There's home
routine.
duties too.
Yeah. And look, don't get me wrong. There's a pile of clothes sitting on my floor that needs to go into my wardrobe. Like I'm not like I've got my flaws, but it's very much that I can't be perfect, and I can only do what I can with the time that I have.
That's right.
There are many meltdowns, but I'm also very fortunate that I've got a great support network, like, you know, Hunter Today's with Grandma. So, you know, I am very, very grateful for the support and the help that I do get when I get it and when it can be provided, because it allows me to go and do things like this.
Exactly. And just quickly going on to social media, what do you think one of the biggest misconceptions of being on socials, because it always looks so glam, it always looks like, oh, you're going to all these events and wonderful, and people then think, oh gee, I want to do that too. So what do you think one of the biggest...
You got to be prepared to work.
It's
another job.
Yeah,
it is another job. And there will be days where you are in burnout, there will be days where you just don't feel like showing up, and you've got to show up, and you've got to show up in a way originally, because you need to stand out. You can't blend in. Like, just because there's a trending reel that's going on,
changing algorithms,
you need to make it yourself, because people aren't going to follow something that 4,000 other people are doing. They're going to follow something because they identify or resonate with you, or they love what you do. You know, the amount of people that will stop me, and it's just people that I would never expect to have these conversations with me, and I'll either get a message or I'll get I'll bump into them, and they're just like, we love your posts because they bring joy.
Oh, good.
We love the joy, whether it's you dancing with your son, whether it's you being out somewhere, whether it's you putting something together about how you lost your spark but you've got it back. You know, it's these things. And I think the other thing that we need to realize is, when it comes to social media, we're putting out what we want you to see. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Correct.
I mean, no one's going to want to see the ritual that I go through every morning trying to get my son to get ready for school. Like, you know, and also I don't want to put that out there, because that's his privacy at the same time.
Right.
You know, there's so many other things, so you don't necessarily see. And I also feel like we get to a stage where people just assume what you're posting or what you're liking. You know, you're liking a reel. Oh, so she must be going through this, and it's like, no, I just agree with it.
Agree with it.
You know, my IG knows I'm forever putting songs up, and it's like, oh my god, she's put this song up. She must be like, this is what she's going through. No, it came on the radio. I haven't heard it, and I know the amount of messages I get because I'll put up a song that people are like either loving at the moment as well, and they feel that sense of identity, or they haven't heard it in ages and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot this song existed. So for me, and maybe I'm using it a little bit different to other people, but I think we need to not read into everything that is out there.
That's right.
And actually see that what we're putting up is what we would love for you to share as part of our lives. But not everything is going to be shared.
I don't know about you, but I use social media as something to make me happy and like a glossy magazine. So I don't tend to put the sad part of my life or any bad things that happen. So when I'm looking for happiness and bright, fun, colourful things, or fashion, or pink, or, you know, so I think, people have to remember that we are putting the best.
And that's it. And I think we tend to forget, because we do share quite a significant amount of our lives. But, you know, there's not a lot. And for me, people who might be on my close friends, they're there because of whatever I am going through, and then it might be an avenue for me to share that out. But that's why I use close friends. I don't use close friends for anything outside of just, that's how I can interact with my people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, we've got time for 1.5 more questions.
like a lot.
So big. This has been amazing. So you just launched your very own event, a Rave and a Brunch.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, your very first event sold over 100 tickets, which is absolutely incredible. So where did the idea come from? And you've already booked your next date. So, tell us what to expect coming up for Rave and Brunch. So, it's amazing.
I've always loved my 90s, 2000s dance music. And I've always wanted to do some sort of brunch event around that. And then I met Christy through another event, through a mutual friend. And I started going regularly to this event don't tell the mutual friend that it wasn't to go see them. It was actually to hang out with her, because I also had some other event ideas that I wanted to work with her. And we started talking, and then she, a change of lifestyle kind of happened for her within her career. And I remember sitting in the bathroom and we were voice messaging back and forth, and she's like, I want to do this. And I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. And she was like, oh my God. And literally within 2 weeks, I had written a 20-page business strategy, presented it to her. We went through it all, and she was like, all right, well, what venues? And then went out to my network of people, went out to DJs that, the team that we wanted to have a part of it. And when
you're passionate about something, though.
8 months later, we sat there that night, that morning, we just, as it doors opened, and we looked at each other and went, are we effing doing this? Like, are we doing this? Like, we created this and it's now this.
Yeah.
And I think that event, the joy on everybody's faces, the conversations that were being had to me of people saying, hey, you love, like, you've basically given us an opportunity here to listen to songs that take us back to such happier times, and times when I was younger and I didn't have a responsibility. And that was exactly what we wanted to do. And to be able to bring something like that, and just the feedback we got off that first one, what was meant to be a 2-week break of anything, right? Like, we were like, we don't want to listen to the word Rave and Brunch. Basically that Monday I messaged her and went, I think we need to lock in the next one now, whilst it's still in everyone's minds.
100%.
And early bird tickets went on sale yesterday, and they're already 50% sold out overnight.
Oh my gosh, 50%.
So, and I mean, that's just early bird, so it's limited, but general sale goes on sale tomorrow.
Wow.
So, to be able to have that type of just people believing in what we've created is just unbelievable. Yes. So, and the fact that it's an event manager I'm so glad to be working with her, because she pulls me in line on the logistics stuff. And it's also stuff that I just don't like doing anyway. Like, I like the marketing, I like the creative.
You're comfortable.
I like to be the MC with the microphone in my hand. But we do, and we've locked in an incredible lineup for this second one.
Yes. Is it going to be similar?
It's similar, but there's a special guest is going to be a real trip down memory lane. So that's all I'm going to say for that one. So God. I would suggest get those tickets.
Just imagine, down the track, like maybe 5 down the track. You never know.
Well,
you never know who might be popping in.
But I think we've secured a very cool special guest DJ for this one, and he is unbelievably keen to be involved. So I'm really fortunate that the universe is all lined up and we're able to get it.
I just feel like it's going to get bigger and better from here on, because, the first one, you're sort of finding your way.
Oh, and there was so much that we learned from that first one, from the way we have done the tickets. So if you bought tickets the first time round, you're going to see that it's slightly different this time round. The way that our processes are, the way that we're marketing it. We've got content now. It's not me going and typing in.
I noticed
AI,
I was
make video
in one of the newsletters. Thank you very much.
You're actually on the post from yesterday too.
Wow.
So,
Oh my God.
you know, there's so much that we've been able to learn, but also to make it bigger and better. And I think as long as people believe in what we're trying to create here, I think it's keep going.
Everybody believed, and I think the people that missed out the first time, they're not going to miss out this
time. FOMO. Don't be that moment, the FOMO where you're sitting at home
I
and
was
you're being
there,
like, I
honestly, can say
and you're home
going
by dinner.
again.
You're home by dinner.
You get to drink during the day if you want to. You don't have to. You get to drink during the day. You get to party, dance,
and I think
rave, and go home.
That's it. And the beauty of it is we cater for dietary requirements.
Yeah.
We cater for pregnant women. We cater for breastfeeding
you
women
had
as well.
women
We cater for people who are sober.
Yeah.
You know, we've made sure that we are trying to be as inclusive as we possibly can for everybody, because this is fun for everybody, and we don't want somebody feeling like they can't purchase a ticket because they have an issue with a particular food.
Yeah.
You know, or they're gluten-free, you know. We want to make sure that everyone can have the ease of being able to go purchase tickets, and we've even made that easier. When you purchase your tickets, you can actually tick your requirements there and then.
Oh, that's so good.
So, you know, there's all this stuff.
And it was so cool because I saw that one of the girls there on the day, like she'd had her birthday there. What a great, like if your birthday's in June, around June 21st, lock it in.
Let's be real. Look at the celebrations that happen around then.
Yeah.
Hens, you know, for some of your younger friends, or second, third marriages, like amazing, right? Birthdays, anniversaries, divorce parties. Like it doesn't matter what you're celebrating. You could be celebrating an amazing job or going away.
Or just girls' day.
Like let us know, because it's a beautiful time and a beautiful place to be able to have a fun reunion, enjoy. You get an amazing feed. You get drinks if you want, and you then dance the afternoon away.
You get to dance
and you're
all
home
off.
by dinner.
It's so good. All right, we've got one last question. It's very important. So in all the photos that we take, we tend to do one particular thing.
I think I know where you're going with this.
And it looks like this. So what I want to ask you is, how exactly did you invent the peace sign, Demelza? She's told me many a time she invented it. It's her trademark.
Do you know what's really funny? I think it's because I just don't know what else to do with my hands, to be perfectly honest. So I do this or I do this.
It kind of, for me, it just means like smile. Like it's like that kind of thing.
I never used to do this as a kid. Like so the fact that I do this now is like. But I also think that I pulled it a little bit from Kim Kardashian, because there was a couple of times where she'd do the like this or the like that, and I kind of started doing the peace sign, and then it's just taken off. And
so
now
by inventing you mean you stole off Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, well, I was like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Oh look, like she influences people, like she's influencing me. But now like everyone does it.
I know. And they got it off you.
Don't quote me on that.
Oh, that's so good. Well, we look forward to having many more selfies together.
Absolutely.
We're doing the peace sign. And if you love the peace sign, please send us a photo in. No, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And yes, look forward to seeing you during the week. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.